everyone. Thanks so much for joining me for this week's episode of When I Grew Up. On today's episode, I have my friend Eunji Yoon with me. Hey Eunji, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. For those of you that don't know, I record podcasts in the evening after my kids go down to sleep. And Eunji is also here with me after she's put her kids down to sleep.
Yes.
So after a long day of parenting and what she's going to tell us what she does, for a living. But, I'm so thankful for you just making this space to share your story today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes, it's my pleasure. So before, I guess before you share your actual story, we should tell people what it is that you do. So Eunji, what do you do?
I am a cellist, but right now I don't perform, so I mainly teach. So I'm a music teacher in a private studio. Yes.
Yes. So Eunji, just on a personal note, Eunji is also my firstborn Eli's piano teacher.
Yes.
And like I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I sit with Zoe, my daughter, as Eunji's teaching Eli, and I listen to what she's doing and how she's doing it. And man, Eunji, I don't know a lot of piano teachers, but I just feel like your ability to teach a 4-year-old like certain concepts, right? And then like make it fun with games and stuff. And he just gets so interested in it. I'm so thankful that
Thank
you're,
you.
Eli's piano teacher. And I just feel like it's such a gift that you have. So I'm excited to hear more about your story as a musician, as a cellist, and how you got to be where you are today. But before we get into your story, what is it like being a music teacher? Like, I don't even know how to ask you really like what your day is like, because I know it's like private lessons, right?
Yes.
So could you kind of tell me what it's like to be a music teacher?
Yes. So I believe every teacher has different routine in daily lives, but my life looks like I wake up in the morning, I prep in the morning, very short time, like 5 minutes, just go through the students that I'll be teaching today. And I'll do most of the prep the night before. So I'll go over the concept that we're learning, like theory and any concerns that I had for that student. I will go over that and I will spend the morning with my kids. And graciously, my mom-in-law takes care of the kids while I practice for an hour, which is really good. Forever grateful for that. So I practice for an hour. And then usually my studio opens between 10 to 12 and from 3 to 6. And I teach from home. So that's Monday, Tuesday, and I take a break on Wednesday. And Thursday, Friday, I teach. Saturday, I spend time with my family. And Sunday, I spend like 1 to 2 hours prepping. Like if there's any game that I want to do with my students, I will make them, like print, laminate, and just prepare those materials.
Wow. Okay. So the first question that comes to mind for me is, you're saying you prep for your students beforehand. So, and then you also like think about maybe some concerns that you have for particular students. So like, do you make like mental notes as you are like teaching them, or do you have to like write it down for each student? Like kind of.
I have to write it down. So when the student leaves, as soon as they leave, I write them down.
Okay.
So I have a notebook that has each student's name, and I will write down like lesson notes. Yeah.
Okay. And then like, okay, so I know that, I don't know, because when did you move to Atlanta? It hasn't even been a year, right?
Last June. It has
Oh,
been.
it has been a
It's
year.
almost like a week.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I know. I think I came in 17th of June.
Right. Oh my gosh, it seems like not that long ago,
I know. Yes.
but it's already been a year. That's so
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, so like um it's my understanding that in Atlanta you have a lot of younger students. Is that
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
What is the age group?
From 4 to 10,
Okay.
mainly. That's piano,
Uh-huh.
but I teach cello online because I used to have the students from New Jersey. So I am still teaching them. And like, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I want to get back to that because I'm so curious at how that works. But um so is your approach in teaching music different depending on their age?
Yes,
And how is it
very.
different?
Um, Not necessarily about the content,
Uh-huh.
but the approach is very different. It's like I almost think of as if I'm playing with 4-year-old and versus playing with 10 years old.
Okay, okay.
Mhm. 4-year-old, they don't have any, they have weaker motivations than 10 years old, and they have different motivations. For example, 4-year-old, your son, their motivation is to move the animals from left to right after they play one time. That's
Hmm.
their motivation.
Mm-hmm.
But 10 years old, their motivation is to play certain kind of music. So yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mhm.
So like these concepts that you're even explaining right now, like did you learn that in school or is that something you learned as a music teacher?
Yes, I am constantly learning.
And how do you learn these skills?
Um, I I joined this vibrant music teacher group,
Okay.
and also I joined like many different communities, like music teacher communities, and then they share ideas. So I take some of that from that community, and also like reading books about like how a child develop
Mm.
their brains or something.
Man, I feel like that's so beneficial for even having your own children.
Yes, it's very interesting. That's what I like about teaching kids.
Mm.
Yes,
Wait, what do you like about teaching?
because like I don't know. It almost seems like the one of the things that really excites me about teaching the younger kids is that
Mm-hmm.
depending on how I say it and how I describe things,
Mm-hmm.
their approach to it, to that concept, changes dramatically.
Mm.
If I explain, let's say, if I explain a quarter note and say, this is a quarter note and it's called ta, it's one beat, all the information at once, they're gonna just like, whoa, what's happening? They will just maybe shut off. But I'm really into Montessori method,
Uh-huh,
and what
uh-huh.
they say is like 3-part lesson. You have to say what this concept is. So just one at a time. I would say this is quarter note, this is half note, and then I have to um, ask them, can you point to the quarter note? And they will point to the quarter note. Can you point to the half note? They'll point to the half note. And then the third question goes to, what is this? And then if they cannot answer what the quarter note is, I go back to the first lesson. This is quarter note. This is half note. That kind of thing.
Wow. I'm like,
Yeah.
even myself, I'm like, oh, is that how I'm supposed to teach my kid? Wow. Okay. That makes a lot of sense though.
Hmm.
And so skills like that you're saying like you've read books on your
Hmm.
own and then like
Yeah.
you guys kind of share. That's cool that you guys share resources and stuff like that.
Yes. It's really helpful.
Is that community very like open to sharing though? Like they're very like
Yes.
okay.
Hmm.
That's very cool. I think that's really neat. Okay, so your cello
Hmm.
student, I'm sorry,
Hmm.
your cello student that you do through Zoom. I mean, I mean, it's interesting because it's like one, because you moved, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
can't really talk to them or do
Mm-hmm.
in-person lessons. And two, it's almost like not that unusual because I feel like the pandemic has
Yes.
almost promoted
Yes.
a Zoom classroom for
Yes.
many
Mm-hmm.
people, not just music, but a lot of other things. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, I know Eli's taekwondo like place, they also
Mm-hmm.
do online classes, right? Because of the
Wow.
pandemic. But I'm sure it's really challenging. Like, how is it that you are able to do an effective lesson through Zoom
Mm.
for your student?
Because cello is by major, I can tell what the problem is just by listening to their
Mm,
sound and like seeing how they're playing. It's really easy for me to catch the problem. Hmm.
oh,
So that's,
wow.
but like, I wish that I would be next to them and like touching their hand and like
Mm,
having them feel what it feels like to be loosened, you know?
mm.
Yeah, there are certain things that definitely limit it. Yeah.
Have you had any like moments as you're teaching through Zoom that have been like really eye-opening for you?
Um,
Or
yeah,
uh,
yes,
I'm curious to like, I mean, I'm sure like you have to learn to articulate things
yes,
better.
yes, yes, yes. So like before, I would never write things down, like what I'm about to say, like how
Mm,
I'm going to say. But since I have this limited time to explain this physical concept, I read books and try to find the like verb or word that would describe what I'm about to say perfectly. Like, so yeah, I would write those things down and then we'll say it and then see if that clicks, that shouldn't. If it does, yay. If not, I will just go back and search another words or something. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like just even the fact that you have to think about that, you
Yeah.
know?
It's fun.
That's why you're a music teacher and I'm
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, that's cool. So how does one go about finding students?
Mm. There's a venue called Thumbtack and also there's lesson.com and word of mouth.
Mm. Okay,
Yes.
so there are resources for you to put yourself out there that you are
Yes.
available
Hmm.
to teach music. Okay. Um so I guess we should I feel like I should ask you more questions about your actual job, but then
Hmm.
at the same time, I feel like the questions might come to me as you share your story. So do you think you can take us back to the beginning? Like,
Hmm.
yeah, like why did you study music? And even like
Hmm.
back to like your high school days. Like when did this all start for you?
It all started when I was in middle school.
Oh wow.
One day, my mom came and said, like, would you be interested in learning cello? Because in church orchestra, there were no cellists. So, like, violinist, violist, flautist, but no cellist. So, my mom um, gathered 6 students, including my brother, and had a group cello lesson. And it we did a month for a month. But then the teacher got pregnant and had a baby, so we had to stop. I still had a cello. My mom asked me if I would be interested in continuing the cello. So I said, okay. And the teacher that I had told my mom that I have a talent and I should meet this teacher, another teacher. And I got introduced to this teacher, amazing teacher. And from that on, that teacher recommended applying for an art school in South Korea. It's called K1 High School of Arts. So I pretty much started very late. I started when I was at 12,
That's
which is
late.
late. Yes.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Hmm. Hmm.
Really,
So I,
even for like an instrument of that, I don't know. I just feel like it's a complex instrument. But
Yeah.
people start
People,
younger?
oh yeah, people start at like 4, 5, 6. Uh-huh. Yes.
Okay.
So I started around the 12, and I studied this one music just for this edition for this high school. And I just practiced that for a year, and then I got into the high school. And then it just, yeah, from that on, I continued to play cello.
Okay, so in high school, like what does it mean that it's an art school? Like what is different?
We had four different departments: Department of Music, Department of um, Acting, I don't know what's it called, but Department of Art, like drawing art,
Uh-huh.
and Department of Dance.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Hmm.
And so you were in the music department.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
then so I'm just assuming that the curriculum, including your academic classes, included music classes.
Yes. So we don't follow the standard high school program, the curriculum. We follow until the first year of high school, and then because I went to this school, high school in Korea, we have this sunam, the exam that you have to take in order to go to the university.
Mm-hmm.
So we just study for that, two subjects, no, three. So like Korean, English, and social studies.
Oh,
Besides that,
really?
it's all music. Yes.
And that's unique to your school or all high schools in Korea?
No, 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 our school,
Okay,
art
okay, okay,
school.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. But okay, so then you when did you like so okay,
Uh-huh.
everybody at your school that's
Mhm.
in music, their plan going to university, like is it like they want to be music majors like everybody or
Yes. Mhm. Their
oh,
goal is to go to the highest ranking university in South Korea.
is it
Or
very
even
competitive?
it is competitive, yes. So in high school, yeah, it's best if you win competitions so that you get this, you know, you get exposed to a lot of professors and teachers so that they would be interested in you.
Sure, yeah, yeah, like they're
Uh-huh.
scouting
Yes.
you.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. Mhm.
There are competitions? Can we talk about that? Like, what do you mean there are competitions?
There's music competitions, classical music competitions. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, there are big ones like 동아, which gives, if you win this competition, then does not need to do the mandatory military service. Yeah, that's a big
Really?
one. That's a big one. And the small ones for high school students, yes.
Have you done the big one?
No,
Okay.
that one is mostly for college. I guess that one's mostly for college years.
I see, I
Yeah.
see. Okay,
Hmm.
okay. And so like okay, can you like take me through what a competition would look like? Like you get
So there
there.
there will
Uh-huh.
be an announcement,
Uh-huh.
and they have the preliminary second round, first round and second round, which
Okay.
is mostly the final round. They each give you three pieces most likely, and then you get to pick one of them.
Like on the spot, like you don't know what they are?
No, 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 no. In advance.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
I was
Mhm.
gonna
Yes.
say, I was like, that's crazy.
That's cruel. Yeah. So you get to pick, and you get to prepare them for like 3 months, more than that. And then you go play, you fail or win,
And
and you
then,
go to the next round.
oh, okay. So how many rounds are you said three?
2 or 3.
Okay. And then like what are like what are they judging you off of?
That's a very good question. Musicality.
Like playing, I mean, okay, at this point, if you're at this
Hmm.
competition, I would imagine like there aren't too many mistakes being made. Are there?
Um, yes.
Oh, really?
So those who make mistakes will fail.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Like right
Hmm.
away. Like there's no
No, no, no. They would listen, but
uh-huh.
then they would stop. Say, "Oh, it's okay. Thank you."
So interesting. Okay. And then like say you do it perfectly.
Hmm.
But then like if you're playing the same song as somebody else,
Hmm.
like what are they judging it off of?
Your color,
Mm,
your way of playing, technique, many things,
okay.
but it's very subjective.
Okay. Like
Yes,
subjective meaning like whatever the judge
yes,
likes more.
yes. Hmm.
That's tough.
That is tough.
So like what did you like competing?
I do, but at the same time, not really. But I
Mm,
do like to prepare myself to that most refined like place.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah. Hmm.
Man, because like this is like something I'm not like the most musical person in my family. And my family's pretty musical actually, but and so like to hear this side of it all, it's very interesting for me. Okay. So you graduate high school,
Hmm.
then what happens?
And then my teacher recommended this audition for Royal Northern College of Music, which is in England. So they travel around the world to give audition so that the students won't have to fly to England to take auditions. So the school travels around the world and take auditions at that spot. So they will go to Hong Kong, South Korea, China. So I took that audition and I was lucky. So I got in. And from that on, I studied like English, like TOEFL. It wasn't TOEFL, but something else. And then, yeah,
Okay,
I.
I'm sure you weren't lucky, I'm sure. but but and if you're wondering about Unji's English accent, it's because she learned her English in England. Right? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we studied in Korea. We took like English exam,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
but that's the yeah. I would say that I learned English from my bachelor years. Yes.
Yeah, because like especially if you're like completely immersed in a culture too, I feel like you just kind of become where you're living a little bit
Yes.
too.
Hmm.
So, um, why, if you don't mind me asking, why did your teacher like kind of recommend that you try out for this or audition for this particular school?
It's because my teacher went to the schools in Germany and America, and that's most of the teachers in South Korea. So, because they took a path where they will go to high school and they will go to the university either in South Korea or in the foreign country,
Uh-huh.
and then they will get master's degree or um, artist degree, even DMA, doctor's degree
Oh, wow. Okay.
in America or Germany, England, and then they will come back to South Korea and teach.
Oh, wow. So they just felt like it would suit you to go to a different country to study?
That specific school had the teacher that she studied with, so she wanted me to learn from her.
Oh,
Yes,
why?
because because she saw that I loved playing cello and I wanted to learn more.
Hmm.
but she, I think she thought that there were not many opportunities in South Korea for me to learn because it's very red ocean.
Hmm.
So, because
I'm
like
sorry, I don't know what that term means.
I started late, so I was already late in that race
I
of
see.
becoming the best in the classical music field. There were a lot of prodigies. Um, Professors would know this people, like cellists who do well, and I was not in that pool already.
Hmm.
And so my teacher recommended that school because I needed more opportunities to play and learn and like experience what the classical
Hmm.
music is. Yes,
Your teacher sounds really great. That she was
she
like
is. Yes,
championing you, you
yes,
know?
yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so you go to England
Mm-hmm.
and
And I met this teacher, Karen Georgian,
uh-huh.
which is amazing. She's Russian. She basically taught me how to play cello.
What do you mean? You've
Like
been playing all your life.
I
What does that mean?
I know I was handling, I was just playing the instrument, but she taught me how to breathe with cello, like how to become one with cello. Like very, very in depth.
I love it.
Yes, it was life changing, and and because of that, I can still play cello. Yes.
That's
Mhm.
amazing. So, um, what do you learn at a music school?
We learn, of course, our instrument, our
Mm-hmm.
major,
Mm-hmm.
and then we also get to learn early music and music theory,
Mm-hmm.
music history,
Mm-hmm.
and we get to do orchestra, we get to do chamber music.
Okay. So, like, what does that mean for somebody that doesn't
Um,
know?
mhm. So music theory is like quarter note, half note. That's the
Okay.
very basic one, and
Okay.
then how to analyze music,
Uh-huh.
like how the Beethoven's music is different from Chopin.
Okay.
How
Okay.
music, that's also related to the music history. How the music um, served people in a different way, like in classical music, romantic area, and like yeah, throughout the history
Okay.
basically.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And chamber music, it's group of three, two, four. It's more than two, but not as big as orchestra. That's called chamber music. You get to explore more repertoires by many composers, and you get to hang out with your friends in the music settings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And orchestra, you go to the concert hall, you see orchestra. That's orchestra. Yeah.
Wow. So that's sounds really exciting for somebody that loves music.
Uh-huh. Yes. So in college year, your responsibility is for you to see what fits you best. See if you like chamber music or like orchestra music, or even not what you like, but what people say that your sound is more like your sound suits more to chamber music or
Mm.
orchestra. Yeah. It's your responsibility to define your characteristic of playing.
Interesting. So, okay, I have a couple questions actually. My first one is, you're explaining music theory, music history, and all those things too, but you're a cellist.
Mhm.
But that doesn't always go hand in hand, I feel like. Like your love for your instrument and playing it, and then the love of the theory and all of those things. But for you, like, did you enjoy all those things?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it goes, they're related to each other so close. Like
Mm.
the way you articulate one note from 18th century without knowing the context, what was going on in music history. You you're just making sound out of instrument, not playing that piece, because the repertoire piece is like um, um, a letter from the composer, and you cannot understand what the composer's intention is without knowing what's been going on. So it's very closely related. Yes.
That is
So it
like
gets really fascinating.
so beautiful.
That is,
Like
yes.
I'm like, yeah, I mean, for just, cuz I'm just not very intentional with music in itself. I'm sure my husband would be a lot more like he feels it differently, but for you
Mhm.
to explain it in that way, I'm like, yeah, that's extremely fascinating. Like,
Yeah.
how could you not fall in love with the music you're
Yeah.
playing if you know the history? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
that's pretty cool. I never heard it like someone explain it to me that way. But
I got excited. So can I explain one more thing?
please, yes, I want to
For
hear.
example, yes, for example, we say romantic music, but we don't know what that is, right? It's very vague. But romantic music is from 18 like 30 to closely to 1900. And that was not only in music, what was happening in music, but that was just the whole trend that was going on. It's because of that. And there has been change in production, like how the mass production happened. People were craving for something very organic,
Mm.
plain, love. I just want to enjoy my life. This mass production and industrial thing, it just gross me out. So people were um, getting more into just organic and loving things, and that's what that how that trend evolved. And from that on, people began to focus on emotions, love. They unfortunately they began to put humans' emotions and heart on top of the God's will and like what the
Mm.
Bible is saying. Yeah. So if you were to play the music from romantic era, sorry, you need to understand what's been happening in composer's life. If this composer was, if this phrase was to sing love or despair, yeah, those kind of things. It's really, really, really fun.
Yeah, no, it sounds fun. I
Yeah.
mean, what comes to mind even, like I don't even know if this is the same thing, but um like in your lessons with Eli, my son, I've occasionally heard you ask him, like, Eli, like, what does this sound like? Happy or sad? Or how does it make
Mm-hmm.
you feel? And so I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's kind of what you're explaining to me right now is like there are
Mm-hmm.
certain eras that had
Yes.
certain types of feeling and emotion through music.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I love that you guys have those conversations during lesson
Yeah.
time because I think that's like, I feel like you're really teaching him like that music is more than just like you learning how to read notes
Oh,
and
yes.
play
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, I'm like, okay, like this makes more sense to me. Cause like, if I'm
Mm.
honest, I mean, I don't think that many people's story is like not I'm sure it's very similar to my story like as far as learning piano goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I know you didn't grow up in the States, but like here it's like yeah, I played music, I played piano because my parents made me play and I never practiced and so I quit, like and
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
hated
yeah.
it, right? And it's like so I just really appreciate your background and what you've learned in your schooling
Mm-hmm.
about history and things like that, and you really taking it to be this, what I believe to be an amazing music teacher. So,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, no, yeah. So I just wanted to highlight that because really it's like so interesting how things have translated into your into your job through your major.
Mm, yes.
And like, yeah, it's just really cool. But
Mm,
okay, but anyways, was there anything else you wanted
mhm.
to share on
No.
that? Okay. um, well, okay, my other question was, okay, you said that, your main goal in college in your bachelor years is to kind of figure out where you kind of
Mhm,
fit or where other
mhm.
people think you fit. Did you figure that out for during your time there?
No. So I was at the end of the year, that was around the time where people began to apply for a job, like audition for orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I see a lot of students in the state automatically thinks of applying for a master's degree, but that was not the case in England.
Mm.
Most of my friends didn't go to the university to pursue the further study, but they would just gig,
Mm.
audition for orchestra.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but I had a friend from my hometown, which is Jeju in South Korea. I heard that she was in Rochester in New York. So I was like, oh, maybe this would be my last opportunity to use my parents' money to travel abroad. So why not just go? So I contacted the professor at that Eastman School of Music, and I got to have some trial lessons with him. And yeah, I clearly remember the first flight that I had to America, and like the smell, the scenery, and also the sound, everything. That was a really cool experience.
Oh, wow. So what was it like? Like, was it everything you had thought it was gonna be? Or yeah, what was it like for you?
Like being in America,
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching a movie.
Really?
Like, because like all the houses were so big.
Right. Something I'm sure it's not like you see every
Yeah.
day especially in Korea, but I don't know how it is in
Hmm.
England, but
It's like Harry
from the
Potter.
movies that I see, they're not big
Yeah.
houses.
No, no, no. Yeah. So
I
yeah,
see.
it was very new, and also even the teaching style, it was different. I thought I
Mm.
didn't, because I believed that I had a great teacher. I thought I all I needed was to just practice and learn from experience, audition for orchestras and stuff. But after having trial lessons, we're supposed to have 30 minutes lessons, but that extended to 2 hour lessons, straight 2 hour lessons. And we were connecting so well. It was so fascinating because his approach was completely different from what I've learned. And I
Mm.
felt the need to come to this school to study with this professor. So I came back to England and I applied for this school. And yeah, I got in. And that's when I moved to America.
Oh wow. So, just to clarify, you applied to this school and you got in, but this is a master's program in music?
Mhm,
Okay, and um, what does that entail? Like, so for you, from what I'm hearing, it was for because you just wanted to grow and learn
mhm.
more from this particular teacher. But usually, when someone applies or does a master's program, like, why would they do it?
Because of the school, the quality that the school provides. So Eastman School of Music specifically, it's very famous for having a great curriculum in music theory and music history.
Mm.
That's one of I think that's the first music school ever in America.
Oh.
Yes, so they have a really long history, and yes, for sure, their classes are amazing
Mm.
and very tough.
Like, how
Mhm.
are they tough? I was gonna ask you what are some
Um,
challenges you faced in getting your master's,
so
but
I am not really good at writing, but there are a lot of writing and reading involved in class, and it's just that their level of sharing was beyond my imagination because there were students from Yale, Harvard, they would
mm,
come and like they were not even they didn't even major in instrument. They were like majoring in business, and then they suddenly came to the school and were like they had a better knowledge, and more intelligent than me. I'm like, what is this?
mm.
That then I humbled myself and that's probably the time that I really treated music as one of the study, you know,
Ah.
that you can use to relate yourself to the world. And yeah, because I've seen many colleagues using music as a tool to change world and how they view the world. So it was very eye-opening experience.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, how long is a master's program?
2 years.
Okay.
Mhm.
And um, now that you have a master's in music, like, what
Mhm.
were some next steps for you?
Um, People who want to teach in university
Mm-hmm.
would apply for a doctorate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Um, I have no passion in being a professor,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't apply for a doctorate study.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to be an orchestral musician. So
Oh.
I, while I was doing masters, so students who are enrolled in master's degree, their huge responsibility is to find what their next step is. So I applied for festivals, orchestra auditions, and so many things. Yes. Hmm.
And then what happened?
Um, Again, it's I hit I hit this boundary. I would say this bubble where I cannot. Um, it was just a pool that I wasn't invited to. Um, so there are certain festivals for really, really advanced level students. And in order to get into that festival, of course, you have to be good at it, but you also have to have like good teachers or teachers who is it more involved in that festival, know someone of.
So, like, just
So
networking.
yeah, networking. Yes, that
Okay.
was the bubble that I hit,
Oh,
and I got frustrated.
right.
Yes, so from that point, I began to audition for orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
That was tough.
Mm.
And I was very selfish. I thought I was mature in my faith, but I wasn't. I prayed to God, Lord, I have this certain limited time I can spend in America. I'm going to audition for 10 orchestra, which just open any door if this is the path that you have for me.
Mm.
So I auditioned for like 13 orchestras. Yeah,
There are
but
that
I
many orchestras? Like,
so many, so many.
really?
Yes.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
so, like, sorry, I want you to finish your story, but I'm just so, because, like, for me, it's like, the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra,
Mm-hmm.
but then, like, are there more, like, in this
Oh,
state?
yes. Yes.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
like, where are these orchestras play?
So you basically can imagine every city having an orchestra, but the orchestra
Okay.
that I'm applying to is it's big enough to give me a work visa,
Okay.
right? So I'm applying for like, it could be Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, but like any orchestra that they have a
I
um
see.
vacancy. Yeah.
And then like these are like okay, well okay. So you I'll ask you in a second. But so you applied to 13 or you auditioned
Hmm.
for 13 and then what happened?
Yes. Um, I didn't get into a single one, but I got this um oh, I forgot the term. Oh, I'm so sorry. But
No, it's
this
okay.
gigging position, substitute.
Okay, uh-huh,
So if
uh-huh.
one person is not available, they will contact me and I
Okay.
will just substitute for them.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I applied for this work visa that I get to have 1 year more in America.
OPT
So
visa. Is that
oh,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
OPT, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So for other majors, they have to have a job in order to apply for this. But for music students, you can simply say that you're preparing for audition or competition, and you can just submit the hours that you're practicing, and yeah, like the hours you're gigging. So that was convenient, and I that's the time that I met my husband Josh in Rochester. So yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, that's so funny to me. I don't know why. Well, no, cause like cause David is Brazilian and he was on
Mhm.
OPT, and then like we
Oh
got married,
yeah.
so like
Uh-huh.
maybe
Yes.
that's why it's funny to me, cause I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
know how it is.
Yes.
um, okay, what year was that?
2017.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Um, so okay, but so you didn't really get the job for any of the orchestras, or is it a
Mhm.
job?
Um, Part-time, I would consider.
Okay.
There are many musicians who have substitute position contract for many orchestra.
I see. Okay. But
Yes.
say you get like full you audition and they say yes, like be in our orchestra, is that a
Uh-huh.
full-time job or
Yes, that is a full-time job. Like in short, you get a health insurance, instrument insurance, which is full benefit.
really?
Yes.
Why am I like cuz like I mean, I just don't ask these questions, to
Mhm.
people, but like I just so are they playing music all the time? I'm sorry for my ignorance. Please educate me. But like
Yes. Uh-huh. So there are two rehearsals in a week, like orchestra,
uh-huh.
two rehearsals in a week, and then they will have regular concerts. And I believe that the principal, the first chair,
Uh-huh.
that's
Uh-huh.
called
Uh-huh.
principal, they get paid more for doing more. So um, if they need a soloist, they would have to play. Yes, they have more responsibility, and it's much harder to get into that position. You'll be amazed to hear how much like Boston Symphony principal players earn. Yeah, yeah.
Do you know? Can you tell me?
Um, I forgot, but it's a lot.
So like it's they don't need another job.
No, but they
Okay.
usually have another job.
Okay.
That's like guaranteed because like the school nearby would scout them as a professor, and
Oh.
they will like yeah.
I feel like this is a world I like just would never think about. Like this
Yeah,
music world, you know what I mean? I
yeah.
mean a lot of the worlds that people share with me on the podcast I never think about, but this one in
Uh-huh.
particular I'm like, wow, it's like a whole nother
Yeah,
network of people. You know what I mean?
I know. Yes.
Interesting. Okay. So like sorry, you said they have two rehearsals a week. Is that what you said?
Yeah, most likely.
And then like when do they perform?
Um, it could be anything. Like depends on that music director. If the music director decide to do the regular concert like every month, it would be every month. If they decided to like Friday, um, more friendly concert with conductor talking, it would be Friday. Just
Okay.
all
So
depends on
what's
the
kind of
music
crazy
director.
to me, NG, is because like I guess, again, I just have no idea. I mean, you have your masters in
Hmm.
music and you're an amazing what I think is a very talented cellist, right? I mean, is it just that competitive that that you auditioned and didn't get in?
It's very competitive, very, very. If you make one mistake, yeah, you pretty much failed.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, so
And
like,
like
okay.
they're looking for this certain color way of play. I'm not necessarily saying that the one that who got into the audition is better than the one who failed. It
Mm,
all depends on luck.
mm,
Not all, but like
yes, yes.
um and also it's just the taste that the music director is looking for and just the way of playing. If you're more expressive, like self-expressive, then you should go to the soloist path. If you are more of a just solid, safe player,
Mm-hmm.
then you ought to be in an orchestral platform.
Like a team platform.
Yes, exactly. Uh-huh. Yes.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, sorry, where are we in your story? You met Josh, but then
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
so like,
Everything changed.
yeah, so you know, a- at what point were you like, I want to teach students. I
Mm.
want to have my own studio.
Hmm. Well, I mean, of course, I wanted to teach. All the orchestral player will teach. Uh, um, but so I got married and I got pregnant, I believe, on that day. And I had this terrible morning sickness where I couldn't practice even for 5 minutes. I know, yes, you had worse than me.
No, but still,
It
it's
was so frustrating.
honest.
I was secretly complaining to God, like, why? Like, if you are going to let me not play or practice, why did you even let me go to this school? Like,
Mm,
why isn't it a waste of money for me to go to this school? My parents worked really hard for this. Why? And during my pregnancy with my firstborn, I came to this book by Henry Nouwen, In the Name of Jesus, and he shared his story about where Henry Nouwen. He's very famous, and
I don't know.
oh, you should read his one of
Okay,
his book.
I will.
He's a great writer, and also he was a professor at Yale and Harvard, I believe. But then he was sent to this hospital. Um, I don't know if it's hospital or hospice. So no one cared about who he is.
Hmm.
Every single person would look at him and would just give this strange eye and then would just pass by.
Hmm.
And that point, um, that's when he realized that he shared that like Jesus' temptation, three temptations from Satan. The first one changed this rock to bread. He explained that that's the temptation of wanting to relate your life to the world, you know, and that really struck me. And I had this revelation that, wow, I wasn't relating myself to the Lord. I
Hmm.
was trying to find my position in the world. Because that's the point where I moved to New Jersey, where I had no friend, no connection, music field. In Rochester, I would meet friend, gig, earn some couple of dollars, not a couple of dollars, but like money, and I would feel useful.
Right.
But in New Jersey, I had no one, And I felt so left alone. I would go to church. I would be seen as not as cellist, but as just Josh's wife who's pregnant. And and that was not what I wanted, I guess.
Mhm. Mhm.
I felt very awkward. That was the
Mhm.
new feeling. I needed something, like I needed someone to explain what this is. But from reading that book, I realized that it was my like sin. I wanted to find my place in the world. But at that point, God was inviting me to find my place in Him.
Mm.
So it was just it was just crying every day while Josh was gone for work. And around that time, I was called to this praise team that's called TW12. It's true. It stands for True Worshippers 12. Um, they had this classical team, and what they do is they basically give a tour to a certain area in United States to a Korean church to revive their worship. And we will go play our classical music in the first half, and the second half we would play praise worship songs. And yeah, that was, I believe, from that point God really called me as a worshiper.
Wow.
And sorry, I'm going towards your question,
No, don't be
like
sorry.
how I
This is
began to
all
teaching.
great.
um yeah, so I was called as worshipers. That was my conviction. And then I moved down to Atlanta.
Mm.
um it was because of my father-in-law's death. We all moved down to Atlanta, and I realized that my life shouldn't be the same. What's the point of just teaching music? It doesn't give you a bread. It To most of people, it would seem like an extracurricular, you know what I mean,
Mm.
activities.
Mhm.
But I knew that music is special. Music can feed your soul, and every people is called to be worshipers.
Mm.
Not necessarily playing music, but it could be just reciting, like, psalms. It doesn't have to be like lyrical, you know. So from that's the point where I decided to teach piano, because that's
Mm.
more common,
Mm.
more accessible to the people. And also I wanted the preschoolers and the like young children to have this experience of playing piano from young age and build up the skill, so eventually when they want to worship God, they would just comfortably play piano. That was the vision that I had. But I was very reluctant because I'm a professional cellist. So I was really hesitant to cross this border of
Mm.
teaching piano, because I had many pianist friends, that almost seemed like I was taking their job. Yes, but I was praying, and God was saying, like, just send this message that you will give trial lessons for a month, like, or 2 months. And I sent the message to you, and
Yes.
you have no idea how much I prayed for that, because
Mm.
I'm introvert and I'm not a person of a business type. I don't offer things, especially when it comes to paying me money for the lessons that I give. But yeah, I was very convicted.
I'm gonna cry. Wow, wow, Unji, I had no idea, like all of the
Yes.
backstory, and I didn't. I mean, I don't need to know because like I said, I stand by what I said. I think you're so great with I mean, particularly Eli, because that's all I
Mm,
see, right? And that's enough for me as a mom and as somebody that wants their own children to, like come to love music
mm,
and ultimately, right? Because
mm.
I want them to be able to freely worship God through
Yes.
music one day. And to hear you say that, I'm like
Mm,
totally like shook by it
mm,
because yeah, I had no idea that that was your conviction. And um I'm just processing out loud right now after hearing what you said. But and even your text message, you guys, like, honestly, I was like, oh, this girl's really bold. Like
I
that's what
know,
I
right?
thought. But then
Oh
I was like,
man.
I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like she's here in Atlanta and she's just gonna hit the ground running.
Yeah,
Just really
yeah.
go for it. And
Uh-huh.
and it's
Uh-huh.
funny to hear you say this now because I had no idea,
Yes. Yes.
and I'm like, oh, how great, like, yeah, trial lesson I'm in. Like, I don't have to pay
That
her.
wasn't me. That was me filled with spirit.
Yeah, but that's amazing. That's amazing. So, okay, so I guess I was under the impression that you taught also while you were in New Jersey, though.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
I
But
only
you're
taught cello students.
only cello.
Hmm.
Okay, I see.
Yes.
So, okay, let's backtrack just a little bit. But like, when did you learn to play piano then?
Like when I was like 6.
Okay, so it's like simultaneous then. Like you kind of maintained it or
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, that's so interesting.
Yes.
um okay, so I mean, what is um okay, let's start with the least favorite thing. Is there something you don't like about your job now as a music teacher?
It's 24/7 job. I
Uh
guess every teacher can relate to this.
mhm.
You're your boss. You said you have to set your boundaries,
Mhm.
but I'm very passionate about teaching and
Mhm.
learning things and learning the best approach for my students.
Mhm.
So I would constantly read or watch, like trying to figure out how to make this happen, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, I would constantly think about it. And so I'm 24/7 working. So I am better now. I set boundaries. Like
Mhm.
I set this amount of time I'm going to invest, and other than that, I'll just not work on it.
Mhm. Man, I know I love it though. I love that you love it so much.
Yes. Mm.
Okay, what is the best part about your job?
Best part is just walking through this journey with students.
Mm,
Like every lesson, when there's a click in my student's brain, I feel rewarded. So let's
mm,
say, and like every such a small thing. Let's say like Eli in our lesson, whenever he gets the concept and play very confidently, and even say, "Hmm, I did it without your help," and he
mm,
would say, "I don't need your help. I'm gonna do it
mm,
by myself." Or he would request for a higher level. We have two books. One has like animal prints, and the other one has a real music. And whenever he asks for like, I want to try the real music, and he does it, and he feels proud of himself.
mm,
That's like huge step, and I'm so grateful for this place where I'm sitting, where I'm just watching your kid, like
mm.
any parent's kid, and I'm just thankful for this opportunity to be with them and have my input in their lives. That's just amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm super thankful too, but yeah, I mean, for me, it's clear that as a music teacher, you have found your purpose and
Mm,
um a purpose that is bigger than yourself, right?
mm,
But I don't know too many, but I have met music majors that um like worry about their futures.
Right.
And I'm curious to what you might have to say, but like yeah, like uh again, I don't really know too much about the music world. And I would
Mhm,
imagine people that are thinking about studying music or going into music or majoring in music kind of
mhm,
already know about the world, but about that kind of world and what their opportunities may be. But for somebody
mhm,
listening that maybe loves music but don't
mhm,
doesn't quite know yet what the future might look like for them, like
yes.
can you explain maybe in a practical um way, like
Mhm.
what the different paths might look like as a music
Yes.
major?
So if you say music major, there are difference between music education major and music performance major.
Okay.
Music performance major, it's basically what I've explained so far. Mm, of course, when it comes to a private music studio, it involves a lot of planning, a lot of logistics,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, that's that's my side. The other side is music education major. They learn, I think they learn all the music instruments. They learn trumpet, clarinet, like everything, like every string instruments, um, woodwind and brass and piano. And the reason is that for them to teach in public school settings.
Right, right.
So if you love music, you want to pursue music education major, or it could be just general music as well. You apply for a music school. In first year, you get to decide what you want to do. And I've seen many, not friend, but many students who drop out of school because that's not the path that they wanted.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So they will apply for a business or something. Yeah, I've seen that case too. So after having that degree of music education, you get to it's same as becoming a public school teacher. You go to public
Mm.
school, you see other teacher teach, you teach, and yes. So if you want to teach in New York public school, you have to go to. It's best if you go to the school music school in New York, so that you
Mm.
can take the test right after
I see, I
you
see.
graduate from the school.
And usually, you might not know the answer, but like state to state, there is a test that you have to take
Yes,
in order to do that.
yes.
Okay. Um, I didn't know that music education majors like had to learn a variety of
Uh-huh.
instruments.
Yes.
That's insane. But I guess like
No.
I guess the concepts would carry over to a lot of them. I
Yes.
don't know. I was in band and I played clarinet. But now that I
Oh,
think about it, my band teacher did know how to play all the instruments. So
yes. Uh-huh. Yes.
I see. Okay. Okay. But as a say, someone goes the music performance route,
Mm-hmm.
the one that you were explaining and what you did, like,
Mm-hmm.
so usually that the path for them to take is either like the orchestra route that you were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
or and then a lot of them teach privately, right on this
Yes.
side.
Mhm. You
Okay.
can take orchestra, or you can you can find your group, chamber music group,
Mm-hmm.
and as a group, you can attend to multiple festivals and meet teachers and go to. There's a chamber music competitions as well.
Oh
You
wow.
go to the competition, you win the competition, that you get known, get more opportunities. And
Mm.
as a soloist too, you win the competition, you get known by many people. Yeah, just step by step.
Okay, this is so random. Yo-Yo Ma plays the cello.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so
Yes.
like him, like um how did he become so famous?
Well, he's very known for the cellist who went to Harvard
Oh,
and
okay.
also being ambassador of multicultural.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Uh-huh. Yes. And he is
Yes.
good at cello. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Of course.
I was just so random. I was like, who?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But like if you're really, really, really good at it
Uh-huh.
from the young age,
Uh-huh.
you don't apply for school.
Uh, what does that mean?
The professor or like the musician, like the master musician will invite you to
Mm.
school. So there are like certain types of school, like Curtis and also like Colburn in America. They're like excellent
Mm.
music students. Yes, they they um. So the school's role is to give them a lot of opportunities to expose themselves, like
Mm.
help them become a true artist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So by the school that a certain musician has graduated, you can
Mm-hmm.
tell mm, their musical personalities. So let's say musician who graduated from Juilliard
Uh-huh.
will be different from music a musician who graduated from Eastman School of Music, like
Oh,
that kind of thing. Yes.
interesting. So like when people like that know music hear you play the cello, like what is their kind of their comments about your music personality?
Um, Me personally, I would ask, whom did you study with? Where did you study with? And like
Oh,
at, yes.
okay. And
Mhm.
then that would kind of like explain.
Give you the like kind of a vague idea of what that person's path would have been.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so like I'm curious. I mean, I just have to hear you play. I guess I've never really heard you play. I've only heard you play once
Yeah.
on
When?
Lydia's track.
Okay, yes.
So
Chord.
Eunji's sister-in-law has been on the podcast with me. It's When I Grow Up, I Want to Be a Homeschooling Mom.
Mhm.
And she also makes music, which David produces for
Yeah.
her, my husband. And so I've
So
heard you
talented.
play on that. And I was like, oh, like, I remember being like, oh, is this the cello? What is this?
Mm.
Like, that was really cool. So I momentarily forgot that I have heard you play, but I think it would be amazing to see you play in person, which one day
Yes.
I'm gonna request it. Just
Okay. Accepted.
but yeah. So Unji, I guess just to kind of end our time together, which I feel like we could talk forever about things, but I was wondering what is some maybe advice that you might have for somebody that is thinking about studying music or any just life advice at all?
Mm. Don't give up on pursuing music because you cannot see the future.
Mm,
Music is something that it can be worshipped for, but that's not what the music is. Music is a tool that you can use to do many things,
mm,
especially if you're Christian, for the Lord, for God. And if you begin to limit the place where you want to be and how you want to be used, then it's only going to frustrate you.
mm,
So, like, spend time with the Lord. Um, Even if you're starting from like zero background of what music is, it's okay. Take one step, and as you get closer to that automatic door, God will open the door, and then you take the next step.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's great advice. I just feel like what you said in the beginning of your advice is like so relevant for people that study music. Because I just feel
Mm,
like, yeah, because, you're in school to get a job and make money, right? But then
mm,
it's like, I feel like, there is so many question marks a lot of times
yeah.
in that world. And um,
Mm,
yeah, don't pursue music or give up just
yeah.
because you don't know what it looks like. But I mean, I feel like that's a testament to a lot of things, right? Like
That
just
is,
not
yes.
knowing the future. But
Yes, it
um
is.
real quick, I'm curious, like, so your parents, did they support you? Like, I mean, it sounds like they did, but like, did they support
Yes.
you through through your career of pursuing
Yes.
music?
Mm-hmm. Until
Mm.
master's degree, yes.
So even like, not just financially, but just they were always encouraging you to move forward.
Um, yes. They will always ask me if I want to pursue more,
Mm.
and I would be sure, yes, I really want this.
Mm.
They're very easygoing, and they are the one who prayed to God that God will use me as
Mm.
how He used David to cast out the evil soul from Saul.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. That's amazing. So amazing.
actually, um, I have a team from Eastman School. We, I think we just launched a course. We okay, so we opened this music school called Senore, like Korean Tenore. So 새노래로 찬양하라. We got
Oh.
that from that. So we just launched this, and we are about to give the summer course to K through grade 5 on topic of who created music. And we hope to hope to expand this music school so that it will be used in the mission field, you know, like,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh
more
my
than that.
gosh.
So
That is so exciting. I love that. Wait,
yeah.
so like you do this too? This group thing?
Yes, so we have the same passion for music, and we believe that people who pursue music think that it, we basically worship music,
Mm.
but we believe that music is just simply the tool, and our goal is to educate this generation how this culture, and specifically related to music, has been distorted from creation. So like creation, and like there was it's like Adam and Eve incident happening, and then from that on, how the sin has like destroyed the world and stuff, but not that serious. But yeah, our goal is to culturally educate our young generations about the music that they're listening to, and what the classical music is about, and how to use music properly to praise God.
How do I register? Wow. I mean,
Yes.
so important. It's so important.
Yeah.
Um, and so like I'm just curious, this program that you guys are launching, like this is like an online thing or how does it work?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You go Senore, which is SENOREH
Okay.
.org, and yeah.
And then like how are you contributing to this program?
So each of us, we have four,
Uh-huh.
including me. We teach each era. So Baroque, classical. No, never mind. Baroque, Renaissance, classical, and romantic. So I'm teaching romantic era.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Angie, what don't you do? That's so awesome. So many things that you're doing in your life. Um, that's amazing. Well, before we kind of say goodbye and sign off, was there anything you wanted to add or anything I forgot that you maybe wanted to share?
No, you've been a great listener.
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed our conversation. I feel like I learned so much about you that I should have asked sooner about your life, but just hadn't had the chance. Thank you so much again, Eunji. And you guys, if you have any questions about what Eunji talked about, maybe you're a music major right now and you're just like feeling like you want to talk to somebody that gets it. I know that Eunji would be happy to share with
Yes.
you and talk with you,
Yes, please.
um, and chat about all things music because I cannot do that for you. So please, please feel free to DM me through social media or you can email me at podcastwigu@gmail.com. Thanks again, Eunji. Until next time, guys. Bye.